Welcome back to the Daily Buzz 716. We're continuing our conversation with Willie and Lisa, who are part of the International Organization of Women Pilots known as 99s. The organization dates all the way back to 1929, and now we'd like to touch upon some of the important history with women in flight. But before we go there, I hear Mary Arno has quite a story.
Well, not quite a story. I did take flying lessons. This was years ago in California. My husband is a pilot. Yeah. And in fact, he got his license at age 17. He's owned his first plane at age 22 or something. He's always had an airplane. So, of course, when I met him and started dating, the first, his big impressive thing was, oh, I'll take you up in my plane. Wow, I was very impressed. But then, when we'd go for a lot of, they call them $100 hamburgers in California. You go up in the air, you go to another airport and get a hamburger.
Now it's more like a $300 hamburger.
Anyway, so this was before we were married, and we were both still doing things the others liked. He would.
Before we were married, we were still doing.
He would go to plays with me, and so I decided I would take flying lessons because Phil found me an instructor. I have my little pilot log still. I still have my log after I think 3 lessons. So anyway, he found me an instructor. I have one of those, and because you keep the same one forever. Phil has his from when he was 17. I'm going to get more and more.
But you keep it.
So I got my log, and we went out of the El Monte Airport, which is one of the suburbs of Los Angeles. So I went for, like I said, probably about 3 lessons, and we'd go up, and and I did manage to take off by myself. I never landed by myself, which is kind of the crucial part. But anyway, we'd fly. They had this huge thing, like a borrow pit, with those deep sunk out things that we'd fly over, so
like a quarry?
Big hole in the ground?
Right, with a big hole in the ground, so that if I crashed, I wouldn't hurt anybody but myself and the instructor. And one point I asked him, I said, do you ever get afraid doing this? You're up here and I've got the wheel. I'm a student and not the best student.
Who trusts Mary to fly?
So I said, do you ever get afraid? And he goes, no, I never get afraid. And I said, oh wow. He goes,
because first you will.
He goes, if something happens to you, I can land the plane.
Yeah.
Something happens to me. You're in trouble.
That's right, yeah.
So anyway, but 99s have to be licensed pilots, I think, right?
They can be student pilots.
They can
be student pilots.
And how long ago do their lessons have to have been? Do they have to be current, or, is 30 years ago okay?
Oh yes, you could redo it again. Redo it.
Yeah.
But maybe this is a segue into the scholarships we have available.
Yeah, share with them your mission statement too, Willie, because I think this sort of sums up the organization.
Well, I should know it by heart, but I don't. But the mission statement is, I could sort of wing it. The 99, wing it.
Yeah, I see what you did there.
Is that a 99s joke?
That's right. The 99 is the International Organization of Women Pilots that promotes advancement of aviation through education, scholarships, and mutual support, while honoring a unique history and sharing a passion for flight.
That's a mouthful.
So tell us about the scholarships. Are important, right?
Well, it used to be that once you had your pilot's license, you could belong to the 99s, but you had to have your pilot's license first. But in the last, I would say, it's about 5 or 6 years, the Amelia Earhart Scholarship Fund, which is the main scholarship fund of the 99s, has released money for a scholarship for people learning to fly. You can be of any age, as long as you have a desire to fly. You've to be a member of the 99s as a student pilot, and hopefully taken your first flying lesson. And the scholarship is awarded, or you have to apply for the scholarship, and the date lines are March the 31st and September the 31st. 30th. Okay, 30th. Sorry, 30th.
30 days have September.
Okay, 30th. Well, I was never very good at math.
I'm just good at rhyming.
Yes. So the scholarship, the person who applying for the scholarship has to have a need, a financial need, and she has had to have applied for a student pilot license certificate and hopefully had a few lessons and be on her way so that she is committed to flying. Then through every step, like for taking her written examination and passing it, she's given, say, $2,000, and then when she solos, another $1,000, and so on, up to $6,000. But she has to commit, yes, but she has to commit the money first, and then it's paid.
It's a reimbursement.
It's a reimbursement, yes.
That makes perfect sense.
So
because
this
then
is
you
the
know
Amelia Earhart
commitment is
commitment.
there.
Right.
Commitment is there.
Yes.
So,
But there are other scholarships when you have flown that you can apply for, and they're up to $multi-$1,000, like $10,000 for technical, you know, get your airframe and power plant mechanics license.
So there's a lot of support out there
Yes,
for
yes,
women
there
to
is.
become pilots, because
Yes.
really, when you look at the numbers, only 5.39% of all pilots are female.
Yes,
Right.
I
And
know.
so, you know, I can see that there's a real concerted effort to see that women understand that this is available to them as well to be pilots.
Yes.
And only 11% of student pilots are women.
Yes.
But now let's talk history, because there have been some very, very important women in history
Right.
who were pilots.
Yes.
You know, starting with Amelia Earhart, who was the first president
Yes.
of the 99s.
Right.
And what was her hope for women in?
Well, she
Flight.
always wanted women to be able to develop what skills they had and to be not thought of as second-class citizens. And not that I believe in that, but I've always promoted women for not just for flying, but for all reasons, you know.
And then we've got Bessie Coleman
Oh,
first.
yes, Bessie Coleman.
Yes.
You say that.
Bessie Coleman was the first African American woman to get her pilot's license. She, at the time when she was flying, which was in the 1920s.
There
Yes,
she
she
is.
is. Yep.
There's Bessie.
I love it when they stand on the wing of the plane. That's
she's on the wheel.
the wheel.
So, yeah. Oh, is she? Okay.
But tell us more about Bessie.
At the time, there were no flight schools that accepted either women or African Americans. So she had to go to France, and she took a French class so she could learn how to speak French.
Wow, that's
then she went to
dedication.
France,
Yeah.
and she got her pilot's license. And so then she became the first African American to earn an international pilot's license, and then also the first African American woman to earn a pilot's license.
It's so
It is
cool.
so clear, and it's like, you know, one of those beautiful things to see women really push the envelope of deciding to step out of the society norms. So can you tell us about the air marking program?
Oh, well, the air marking program is a program of the 99s, and many people take part in this. It's painting the compass rose. I don't know if you have a picture of a compass road on runways.
But it's more than that. It's more than that.
Yes,
It started as a way to
Yes.
label airports, because
Yes.
airports, you know, back in the 20s and 30s,
didn't have
there
GPS.
was no GPS, there was no nothing. So the 99s decided they would go to each airport in the United States and find a structure that was nearby, like a barn or something, and on the roof,
Like a tattoo.
paint the numbers.
Yes.
And also a compass rose,
compass
and
rose.
also the numbers that are on the runways.
So the runway numbers.
The runway numbers, right.
Yes, yes.
And then during, I believe it was World War II, they were required to go around and black that all out.
Oh.
Because
In case there was an
in
invasion.
case there was an invasion, they didn't want the airports to be identified.
So
And
we'll
then-
talk about that when we come back. So hold that thought.
Okay.
We have to take a short break, but we're going to have so much more with Willie and Lisa, so stay with us. So we'll finish the discussion, especially about blacking that out.
Yeah,
That's so
that's
interesting. So interesting.